Greetings everybody, I am Lobo and welcome to episode 61 of my Minecraft survival series, and also happy Halloween. It is Halloween today. I am in my costume, I am a zombie. And what are you guys being for Halloween? Let me know. Anyway, last episode we were working on our nether portal room, right? And we mentioned that it was off limits. So what I've done between episodes is make the ultimate off limit sign. Wet floor. Do not enter. Now everybody will stay out of this area, except for us, that is, because we know what's really going on here. So we can go on back there. We know it's not anything dangerous like a wet floor. It's just another dimension bleeding into our own. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our way into that separate dimension, because that's where we're going to be working today. We're going to be doing some spooky building over at the Withering house. Now, we talked about the need to redo our gas room here, and we also talked about the need to actually make a room for our new portal. So, you know, we have plenty of options. Hi! We had plenty of options as far as picking a location for our spooky build this Halloween. The reason I chose the Withering house is because it's got seniority. We did the interior that a long time ago and never completed the exterior. So this can wait. All this can wait. That's pretty much why I chose the Withering house for this build, is because we need to get it done. So as of right now, this is how we get to the Withering house. We come down this long corridor to this hole in the floor, and then we climb down this ladder all the way down. That actually does not work for me. But we're also, like, the floor up there is actually pretty close to the nether ceiling. Like, we don't have a whole lot of room to play with to build. And I want to build something here, so I think we're going to lower the floor down to about maybe right here or so. That'll give us some room to actually build some stuff in here and have it look all cool. And I think what we're also going to go ahead and do is get rid of this ladder, because let's face it, this is a miserable way to get up and down in this farm. You know, it takes forever and it's so cramped. So I think we're going to take the stair set down there and probably run it off this way to the left, and then that way towards the right. We'll make like a sharp right turn, mostly to avoid the farm right here. We don't want anything to interfere with the farm. So run it this way and then up, and probably have the Withering house entrance be maybe somewhere in this area up there in the nether ceiling. And I think that's far enough away. That's going to take us a minute to get up there, but it's also close enough to keep the farm in range of us. So the flying machines have a chance to return to their original positions. The farm has a chance to reset before we leave, because we want the egress to be kind of slow. So I've grabbed a bunch of cobblestone and a bunch of fire resistance potions for all the lava. And I think I'm ready to go ahead and get this area prepared for today's build. So how about we go ahead and put on some music and do that now? All right, let me talk about that time lapse real quick. Like, you see now, we got this, we have this path block floor in here now. I put down grass and convert it to path block to keep from spawning, because Watchdog was having a pretty hard time during that time lapse. I think he died like 3 or 4 times due to gas. You can see like one of the holes right there where he got shot. Yeah, I couldn't get to his controls in time, so he was just getting demolished. Like, gas were spawning in this room. He was just getting blown up all over the place. So, yeah, I'm going to do some work without him, because it's very hard keeping him alive when we're doing stuff like this. But one thing I need to do is go ahead and get this stair set enclosed. Hello, Mr. Gas. These guys are everywhere, I swear. Hi. So yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can get rid of this guy, because you guys have been nothing but trouble for me this entire time. Just go away. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, we're going to get this stair set enclosed, and we're just going to do we're basically going to extend the interior of the Withering house Hello, there you are. Up these stairs. And since you guys already know what the interior of the Withering House looks like, I'm not going to spend too much time in this episode focusing on it because it's going to be repeating stuff we've done in the past. I am going to get this guy eventually. I swear, or he's going to just despawn. One of the two will happen. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, we're going to go ahead and get this stair set enclosed. We're going to bring the interior of the Withering House all the way up through this stair set. I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it because we've already seen what the inside of this place looks like. It looks like this. We have no more wood in here because we unleashed a torrent of lava. We have one wood block. That's all that remains. But yeah, I'm thinking we go ahead and replace that wood anyway. So that's actually no big deal. I've lost whatever mechanism I used to open this door. I need to get in here. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the stair set. So just to give you guys an idea of where I'm at this point, I started getting these the stairs in here, the sandstone stairs, and I'm realizing that sandstone probably isn't a great choice for our floor. Also, wood and quartz probably aren't the best choice for our walls, but that is what we're rolling with. Oh man, all these blocks are so easily destroyed by gas. It's going to be very frustrating. But you can see here, we replaced our oak planks that were here with jungle planks. And there's a reason for that. It is because the new access to our jungle is right here. So I've already checked that out. It links up. So the Withering House will also link us into our jungle portal. Now, the backing right here, I think we need another block choice for that. I am leaning towards cyan terracotta. I think we're going to be leaning towards that heavily in the nether because it's a very dark block that we can easily manufacture because we just need green and blue dye and not black or anything like that, which is harder for me to get. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is continue running this thing up here and we'll see how far we can get before it all gets burnt down. Oh, here we go. Gas alert, Mr. Pigman. Hello, you guys did not take long to show up at all. I have a feeling this is going to be a reoccurring thing. Luckily, this guy did not do too much damage. Oh, gas alert again. There. Oh no, there's fire. There's fire. I knew it when I saw everything light up. Okay. You need to leave me alone. Apparently, where did you go? Okay. Nope. No more fire. All right, so he broke some wood. He broke some bone blocks. Apparently, bone blocks are pretty fragile as well. This entire corridor we're making is like super fragile, but we're making progress on it, and that's the main thing. Once we get this enclosed, like completely enclosed, we won't have to worry about that anymore. Did you guys hear? Yep, I knew it. I knew I heard a gas. I was talking over it though, so I wasn't sure. Oh, and now I am on fire. I don't like the game you're playing. Just leave me alone. Jeez. So after a few minor setbacks, thanks to the usual culprit, Mr. Gast, we now have, finally, this corridor finish that goes all the way up to the Withering House entrance. And there's one thing I need to do before we actually start working on the Withering House exterior, and that is to make this corridor non-spawnable. Because remember, we are going down to a mob farm, which means we need to make sure mobs are spawning in the farm and not on these blocks that we've placed outside of it. So I'm gonna have to go all the way down here and half slab this, and I'm gonna be outside the corridor this entire time. So hopefully we won't get this place blown up because it's still pretty exposed as of right now. Like, these pigmen are just spawning all over the place. This is why we need to get this place. Okay, Mr. Pigman, I'm gonna need you to move, please. Okay, where was he? Ay. Okay. As I was saying, yeah, mobs spawning. So as I was saying, we have mobs spawning all over the place, and I'm having to kind of take these pigmen down to the top of the Withering House with me because I'm not going to do something mean like push them off. I am not like that. I like pigmen, and because they're nice to me, you know, so I'm going to be nice to them. Now, something else we're going to need to do is go ahead and take care of like pretty much all these random floaty blocks that we're coming across because mobs will spawn on those as well, and we need to make sure that does not happen. So I think, oh, hi Gast, I saw you. What do you say we go ahead and take a fire resistance potion in case we get shot off into the lava? Instead of just going ahead and taking our pickaxe and getting rid of these, I think I'm just going to try to quickly just slab over them and then get back to where we need to be as quickly as possible. And then we'll try to take out this gas before he shoots us off the edge or something. Then we have to climb all the way back up here Just go away. Oh, no, Wither skeleton. This is why it's very important. No, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. This is the worst case scenario. Just leave me alone. Everybody just go away. Just leave me alone. I don't like building in the Nether. This is the worst idea I've ever had in my life. If you're wondering like why it's taken so long for me to come back to the Nether and start slabbing around this area, I'll go ahead and give you the reasons right now. One is because I think we're doing pretty good on the efficiency of our Wither farm as is. And two, it's because this is just a miserable experience and I don't want to do it. I don't like doing this. Oh, this is just horrible and sketchy and all kinds of bad. Look at all that lava. So with that finally done, we can get to work on today's project, which is going to be the exterior of the Withering House. And I think the actual Withering House exterior is going to have a fairly small footprint because it's just going to be a structure, right? But what I want to focus on is the atmosphere in this area. And I think we maybe even might want to go a little bit smaller than this. Because I think it's offset more to the right. Like we have 3 blocks on this side, 4 on this side. Yeah, so we're gonna have to go ahead and get rid of this. And maybe what we'll do is go ahead and move the redstone like back here so that way we can compact this space a little bit more. And then I'll kind of talk about what we're going to be doing a little bit further. So I took that footprint we just made and worked it upwards using the bone block walls, carrying that whole theme throughout. And this is the shape that we're going to go with. It's going to be a very small house right here. And it's not especially spooky. And that's because I don't want it to be. I want this to be actually the most welcoming site in this area. Because as I said, we're going to be focusing on atmosphere. I'm going to try to do some builds that rely not just on, making impressive structures, but building an atmosphere in this room or wherever we do build. So let me go ahead and tell you guys what I'm about to do because we're not going to focus too heavily on it because we're building a very basic structure right now. And I don't want to take away too much from the more in-depth stuff we're going to be doing later. So I'm going to go ahead and get a roof in here using the jungle wood, and we'll probably put more jungle wood details in it. Again, carrying that theme throughout the entire build. So let me go ahead and get a little bit more done, and then we'll talk some more in just a bit. Now, even though this house has windows, I don't want to put any actual windows in here because if we come inside, you can see there are no windows. It's a disorienting like delve into nothingness down there. And that's kind of, I want to give the impression that there's something really wrong here because obviously there is. So we're just going to do cyan terracotta and trapdoors just to give it the appearance that there's very dark windows there when really there are none at all. So, I mean, that's the Withering House, basically. It's actually kind of cute. So we need to de-cutify it just a little bit. And we're going to do that by adding some more details in, kind of busying it up, and just making sure that, it's not so welcoming, basically. Because even though we want this to be the most welcoming site in the area, we want the area to be so foreboding that this, like weird house with all this weird stuff going on is the most welcoming site, if that makes any sense. So I'm thinking we could probably do like beef up the corners a little bit by using these fence posts. And also we could add some details in here like vines and stuff like that crawling throughout, maybe some cobwebs as well, to show that this place is abandoned, because that is another thing I want to do with this area is I want to make it feel abandoned. So what I'm going to do is kind of play around with this a little bit, get some of the details in here, maybe get some shrubbery around the outside, and then I'll be back and we can kind of figure out where to go from there. And I think this is pretty much what we're going to roll with for the general structure, general shape, general appearance of the Withering House. And if you're wandering around the Nether and you somehow come across this area and then see this house, you're going to want to see what's inside, and you're not going to expect what is actually in there, which is a long descent into the Wither farm. So think about the rest of this area. What I want to do, let's first talk about how we're going to get into and out of it, okay? So over here, these missing blocks represent a hallway. That's going to lead us home. On the opposite side, we're going to have another hallway, which is going to lead us to the mesa. And over here, we'll have another hallway, which leads us to something else. So what I want these hallways to be is a part of Wolfen's Laboratory. I want there to be like kind of a spooky version of Wolfen's Laboratory, because that is how we get into the Nether. They're the ones that open up the portal into this dimension. And I want it to basically seem as if the Nether has kind of pulled Wolfen's Laboratory, or a version of it, into itself. if that makes any sense. Maybe as we start building, you'll get a clear idea of what I'm talking about. But for all intents and purposes, right now, you can think of the Nether as kind of like a never-ending expanse of a version of Wolfen's Laboratory in an alternate dimension. And this right here, where the Withering House is located, this is going to be one of its many, many courtyards. Yeah. So I've got a little bit of this built in, and now I'm going to tear it down because I'm realizing that this is going to be a little too flat. It's going to make this area look a little too flat. So what I'm going to do is kind of bring this out a little bit. And I'm not going to do that on camera either because, well, number one, first of all, is because we just built Wolfen's Laboratory together, the actual Wolfen's Laboratory together, maybe a couple episodes ago, and it'd be kind of redundant to do it all over again right now. Second, I just want to get a small area built in so that way we kind of experiment with this and kind of figure out like where we're going to go from here before we start the big build in the rest of this room. So fast forward a little bit, I have a representation of this section of Wolfen's Laboratory in here, and since we are approaching the bedrock ceiling, I think this is about as high as we're going to go with it. We're not going to bother to put a roof on it or anything like that, but we can pop over here and just have a look at what this section of wall looks like, and it will be replicated on 3 sides of this room. Now those lamps are powered off up here because I want the only light to actually be coming from the Withering House. I want that to be what draws you in this area, so I want the rest of this area to be fairly dark in comparison. And I guess that brings us into the rest of the environment, setting the mood. So what I want to start working on now is the sky or the ceiling, because what we're going to be doing is taking some red stained glass and kind of layering it to create a fog effect. And if you're not familiar with this, I'll get a little bit more into it once I have something to kind of show you and demonstrate with. So this is going to be a little different than the fog that people normally do since we have it embedded in bedrock. Basically, what it normally is, what the fog technique normally involves is gas in my room. No, it doesn't usually, but just stop. Don't blow anything up in here. I just got things the way I like them. Okay, apparently, see, this is what happens. This is what happens when we start adding spawnable blocks to an area in the Nether. And I don't take enough care where I put my torches to keep these guys from spawning. Yeah, I guess these back blocks right here are also spawnable, right? Oh, man. So as I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted yet again by yet another ghast, is we were talking about the fog technique. And we want to start this off with a layer of glass up in here embedded in the bedrock. Now, normally you have a solid layer of glass. There's not other blocks embedded in it. You do not belong there. Because underneath that top layer of glass, what we want is an air block. So what we're going to do is go ahead and leave a space for air and put in our second layer of glass right about here. Now, normally, see, this is going to be partly embedded in the bedrock too, which means we're only going to have 2 layers that are actually fully exposed, which may take away from the effect. I'm hoping it won't. But then again, we can't really do anything with the bedrock if it does. We can't do anything about that at all, aside from move the floor down. And believe me, I am not going to be doing that. So now that we've got that in place, we can go ahead and start on our third layer, which is going to be right here, again, leaving an air block or an air gap in between the separate layers, and hopefully this space in between these layers creates a fog that kind of makes the top layers fade away. So I guess we can go ahead and see if this works or not with the bedrock in there. And yeah, I mean, that looks kind of cool. You can see that the top kind of fades away, and it kind of hides the fact that we don't have a roof. I mean, looking at it from back here, you can see the separate layers, you can see that doesn't work, but once the entire ceiling looks like this, everything is just going to kind of fade into the distance. So I spent a little bit of time cleaning this area up a little bit. I've added some more acacia running up into the bedrock. I've also added some cyan terracotta running up into the bedrock to give it the effect that this building is taller than it actually is, and that it's actually fading away into the fog as you look up at it. And I think that's kind of cool. I think that is a great transition for the walls into the ceiling on 3 sides of this room. So now that this is basically done, we know how 3 of these walls are going to look, and the only one left to figure out is this 4th wall back here. So I think the first thing we're going to want to do is start our boundary, and we're going to be doing that with these sickly looking oak leaves, which get this really nasty color and appearance in the Nether, which I think is very, very appropriate. And that's going to tell you that, hey, you're not supposed to go back here. Now, behind this, what I want to do is start setting up kind of a backdrop. So we're going to get a little bit experimental here, and we're going to use our nether brick to make our little nether tentacles. Remember how they're coming out of the portal in our overworld? But what we're going to do is we're going to make them take on the appearance of trees in this world, in this dimension. And hopefully that will give us the idea that the nether is kind of like a darkly mirrored version of our world. It's just messed up, you know? That's the idea anyway. We're going to see if it works. I'm going to go ahead and get this tree built in here, and we can decide from there if we want to keep it or if we want to try to figure out something else. Now, one thing I want to emphasize real quick is the fact that we need to make sure there are no spawnable blocks on this tree, quote unquote. And the reason for that is because we are building with nether brick, and we are building with nether brick close to a nether fortress, maybe even within the bounds of that nether fortress. So if we have nether brick exposed and spawnable, that could potentially lead to wither skeletons dropping on our faces while we're trying to make our way through here, which, you know, needless to say, is bad. Now, as for the rest of the backdrop behind the Withering house, what I want to try anyway, is run a big wall of red concrete up and perhaps maybe even fog in front of it to make it look like it's just this vast expanse of red, which is what the nether really is. If you look at it from a distance, like you get this red fog. I want to give the appearance that there's just like a vast, area of that behind the Withering house. So this could potentially not work, but I figure it's worth a try since we have a whole lot of red dye and we have a whole bunch of sand and gravel. I went ahead and made a bunch of this because I really, really think that this is our best chance for success here. And I actually probably don't even need to do the corners, do I? I can save some doing that. Ha! All right, so I've ran our red wall. I've ran our fog partway up, just air block and then a layer of glass. And the reason why I did that is because if you look over here at the corner, you can see the corner of the wall, right? But if you look where we ran the glass in front of it to kind of fog it out a little bit, that corner gets lost. And you can see like exactly where the glass stops. So if we run the glass up, I think that's going to give us a great effect. And you know what? I'm actually really, really liking that. I think I actually like that better than the ceiling. So that's something to think about. So I took some of our excess concrete, put it up here in the ceiling, and that gave us some room to play with down here. So what I thought we could maybe do is use some of this black glass and fog in some dark clouds over here. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to look, but I figure since we have some room up here and we have some of this left over, let's go ahead and experiment. Let's see how this looks. Let's go ahead and pop down here and we can check out the clouds of the ceiling and see what we think of it. And I'm not feeling the clouds, but unfortunately, I do really like that ceiling. I say unfortunately because you know what a pain in the butt concrete is to make. But now that we do know what we're going to be doing here in this area, how about we put on some music and let's knock out the rest of this room. Welcome back, everybody. Nether sounds. That's very suiting. Thank you, game. Welcome back to the Withering house, and I think this place is looking amazing. Just look at the atmosphere. Look at the mood this place sets. I am very happy with how this turned out, and it turned out much better than I actually expected it to. Now, you saw some of the mistakes I made during that time lapse. One was I ran this like big nether tentacle thing, and I was intending it to like branch out like all over the place and do crazy stuff. It wasn't working out for me, and it looks better without it because it gives it this more desolate appearance, this desolate, abandoned appearance, like nobody is in here. Even the pigmen are gone now. We gave them some time to despawn, and I think this place is looking just amazing. I can't believe how this turned out. I know I shouldn't sound so excited over my own build, but just imagine that you're coming into this area from this corridor right here, and instantly it sets the mood and it lets you know where you need to head next. Like it lets you know that this is the area that you want to explore next and you want to see what's down there. I actually liking everything about this. I mean, obviously there's probably things I can improve upon, but overall, like it did turn out better than I expected, and I would love to hear your opinions on this. I just want to take a quick walk around here and just kind of show you, take it in. Just take it in. Like, it's very spooky. It is very spooky, and honestly, I think I heard a pigman. But honestly, I think I've had enough spooky for today, so I am actually ready to go home. Yeah, there's pigmen around here somewhere. See, I slabbed over everything, or so I thought. But there's definitely pigmen somewhere around here. Anyway, let's go ahead and make our way home. And I see you. I see you. Okay, they're over here. We'll eventually get rid of this and fix this all up. This is only a temporary thing until we get our actual tunnels built in. But let's head home. I am so happy for what we did, but I am also so happy that it's finally over. And it's so good to be home. Now, there's something I want to call your attention to as we go home. Watch as this area loads in. You can see our frames just tank. Like the lag is starting to build up and all that stuff as we move closer towards the storage system and it all loads in. So that's something I think we need to take care of because this is a main part of our city, and it's the main part of our city as of right now, the business district. So that's something we're gonna have to work on probably next episode, is making this a little bit more enjoyable, because it's not very fun for me to play in this, and it's probably less fun for you to watch. But if you guys have enjoyed this episode and what we did today, please feel free to hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a whole lot to me. And if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. And as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later. Happy Halloween, everyone.